Everything you need to know about Google Tag Manager and a few examples coming up. Hey there, my name's Scott. I am the founder of Bedrock, an analytics agency in the UK, and I have seen hundreds of Google Tag Manager setups. And it is my belief that with a little gumption and some training, anyone can learn to use this powerful tool. First of all, we'll go through the why of Google Tag Manager and how it works. And then towards the end, I'll show you a few examples of me setting up some tags on a website. The first big reason is faster deployment. The typical website has about 40 to 60 third-party integrations, and these all need to get coded on the website. So every time you want a third-party implement it, you will need to pass across some code to your developer. They will need to put it in their work schedule, which is already typically very busy, which could mean the project for setting up your third party could take a few weeks, if maybe not even months. GTM is a great place to manage your third party tags, such as Facebook pixels, remarketing tags, Google Analytics, because it allows technical marketers to inject these tags without the need for a developer. So what could have taken weeks before in the past can now take a few days because you do not need to lean on this technical resource. You can do it with inside your marketing department. I need to add one caveat here.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Adding tags through GTM is risky because you are placing code and third-party code directly on your website. So you need to be very careful when implementing these tags. However, that leads us to point number 2. GTM has a great testing and versioning system. GTM has a great suite of features that allow you to test your implementations, and it really allows you to dig into, is the data coming through correctly before it goes live onto the website. The third big one for me is centralized management. Like we said before, whenever you need to implement third-party tags, typically you'll have to call on your developer. In the back end of your website, there are many different files that they might need to touch to implement certain third-party tags. The beauty of Google Tag Manager is it centralizes this all in one place, so all your tags live there. And this allows you to easily search for third parties that you've added, any tags that you may have added, and remove them very, very easily without digging deep into the code base. And the fourth reason, and the best one, is it's free. Like free, all the way free.
It's free real estate.
So now that you know the benefits of Google Tag Manager, we'll dive into how it works from a technical standpoint. So we'll touch on how it's installed and looks on your website, as well as a few examples. First off, we will look at how Google Tag Manager is installed in the website. So we'll dive into that now. So the website we will use for our example is going to be a website I set up 5-6 years ago, made up north with my mother. This is her here. Look at this beautiful entrepreneurial mother-son combo. So first of all, we're going to look at how GTM integrates with your website. And we will be using this previously made GTM container. Once you set up an account, you will see something similar to this. Just go to tagmanager.google.com. To install, in the top right hand corner, you will see a little code. It will start with GTM, and you'll have instructions on how to install Google Tag Manager here. At this point, this is where your developer needs to be involved. They need to follow these instructions, and as long as everything is carried out correctly, that should be installed. But we will go through a full video on this at a later point. Now that your developer has installed the script, it will appear on your website. We're just looking at the Made Up North website. We've right-clicked, inspected, and you can see here the script is at the top of the page. Now there are two scripts. There's one at the top in the head, and then there's another in the body, which you can see down here, as per the instructions here. Now, once Google Tag Manager is installed correctly, it will appear on every page of your website. And the way we load third parties and anything inside Google Tag Manager onto your website is through this script. So once it loads on the page, it will then pull in everything else inside your Google Tag Manager container. And this is how we can work around developers, because any updates we make inside our container will be loaded by the script whenever it's published. So you don't need to go into the back end and change the code in Shopify, WordPress, whatever other platform that you're using. Once it's published in GTM on the GTM website, it will automatically update on your website. So that was a very top level view of how GTM is installed. We will have a more in-depth video going into it. But now we're going to start looking at some examples in the wild. So now that you've got a grasp of how it's installed, I just want to show you a few examples. So the first one will be how to install a Facebook pixel, and the second will be a very quick way to begin tracking call to action links. So the call to action we'll be tracking today is this Book Now button, and we will send the information to Google Analytics. And again, don't worry about following this too closely. It may get a little bit technical, but we will expand on these in future videos. First example is going to be installing a Facebook pixel. Now this will be a very basic installation, but you'll understand how quickly we can begin implementing things in GTM. There has been a time where I have had to wait for up to 2 months to have a Facebook pixel installed by a developer. So this is just so much faster. So first of all, you want to have your Facebook ads event manager in front of you on the settings page. And then secondly, we will jump into Google Tag Manager. So don't worry too much about tags, triggers, variables. I will just show you the process and hopefully you can see how easy it is. So what we want to do first of all is set up a tag and we'll give this tag a name. This is Facebook pixel page views, and we'll just set up a new tag, and you can see here there are a lot of preset tags already here. What we want to do for Facebook is go to the community template gallery. This is a place where lots of vendors will upload their own tags to help you install them on Google Tag Manager. We'll just search for Facebook, and we can see the Facebook pixel there, which has been uploaded by Facebook Incubator. And then we'll choose this template, and this will give us a few options in our tag. So first of all, it's looking for the Facebook pixel ID. You can find that in your account. This is our Facebook pixel ID here. And we just paste it in here. And we're just setting up Facebook page views so we can understand traffic that comes from Facebook and then views pages and moves through your website. So we'll set up a standard event called page view. We'll worry about GDPR at a later date in a further lesson. And we can just leave everything else as we want it here. Now this tag, this top part, this is all based around the page view. So if we want a page view event, we need to think about, well, when do we want page views to send? We probably want them to send on every single page of the website so we can understand exactly how well our campaigns are doing and how much content people are consuming. So trigger is how we fire a tag. So let's look at triggers. There is a pre-built trigger called all pages, and this will, as it says, fire on all pages. And all we need to do now is save this tag. And you can see here, it's inside our workspace. So you can see how quickly that was to set up. So let's dive into the second example of how to track a call to action click. So just to remind you, our call to action will be this Book Now. We will close down the debug and the website instances and Facebook, and we'll dive back into the interface. So we want to set up a new Google Analytics event for a click on that call to action. So we'll do a new tag. We'll give this a name again. So GA event Book Now CTA. Book Now CTA click. And we'll look for the tag. Oh, you can see here, we've got a variety of Google Analytics tags. We'll set up one for Universal Analytics. We'll change the track type to an event. We'll give it a category. So this will be a user interaction. It will be a click. And it will be on the Book Now button. You need to set up a Google Analytics settings variable. This is basically just your account ID, so it knows where to push the data to. We've got a variable set up here again. And yeah, we'll now set up the trigger. This one may be a little bit trickier, not as straightforward. But what we will do is we will create a new trigger. We'll do this. You can see down the right hand side, there's different trigger types. So we've got page views, we've got clicks, we've got user engagement. This is a click, so we will use the all elements trigger. We don't want to trigger it on all clicks, we want to trigger it on some. So the click element, an easy way to do this, and this may work on your website, but we'll dive into more options, is to use a CSS selector. So to do this, we can right click and inspect. And I'll just whip this to the side. And we can see here when we right click inspect on the button, it actually brings us directly here. If we right click this and copy selector, this is a CSS selector that will basically just pick this one button out. We can then go back into Google Tag Manager, change this to match a CSS selector, and paste this here. We'll also give this a name as well. So this is a click, and it's on the Book Now button. And we will save. And we'll save our tag. We'll close this. We'll get a bit of real estate opened up again. And then we'll go into the preview mode to test this again. So again, put your URL in here, click connect. And then if we click this button, we should be able to go back and see there was a click here. And you can see there that the Book Now CTA was clicked. So you can see how quickly that was to set up a pixel and a click event for Google Analytics. And hopefully you're starting to understand the power of Google Tag Manager. And you should by now know everything you need to know about it from a very high level, so you can start beginning having conversations with more technical people. Again, remember to subscribe if you want to see subsequent lessons where we'll go into how to install Google Tag Manager, how to begin tracking events, what tags are, variables, everything you need to know to get you up to speed.